Okay, we're recording.
In the closet.
Okay, so we moved to the closet because it sounds better, and Nathan helped me set up this really nice mic. You can't see it if you are listening to the podcast, but it looks very official in here.
Mm-hmm. And we're in the closet because the rest of our house is echoey as heck. So
Yeah.
this is the only non-echoey place in our house.
And we have a cat who is really loud and is really upset if we lock him out of the door, so this is the only place in the house you can't hear him crying in the background or attacking something in the background. So it's our safe haven. Oh gosh. Okay, sorry about that. Our mic fell.
Yes, because it's, a really perfect, awesome setup, and we would change nothing about it.
I'll post a picture of it so you guys can see how janky it is. But it's beautiful. It's our little setup. So anyway, it works. Today we wanted to talk about anxiety and how we handle it individually, and then also how we handle it within marriage when we come together. I wrote the blog earlier this week, and Nathan read it this morning, and he was like, it's not a ton of marriage specific stuff, but I think a lot of times the way you handle anxiety individually translates to how you handle it within marriage, so that's kind of why I had it more of a focus on the individual side. But
yeah, I mean, we'll get into it, but anxiety is obviously a very more personal issue. There's some extra steps in getting around it within a marriage. But a lot of what we're going to be talking about, I feel like, is anxiety just overall and how to deal with it. And then just a few, dare I say, tips and tricks within marriage.
Yeah, that's a good way of summarizing it. Yeah, and I felt intimidated coming to this subject and tackling it because I feel like we're both very blessed to say we don't struggle with mental health to the severe extent some people do. So I just feel nervous approaching it. I feel like I'm speaking from ignorance, but really this podcast and this blog is just us sharing what we've learned and also what we are currently learning, because we still are learning a lot on the way. So I don't know, take it with a grain of salt, use it if you want to. But yeah,
and at least personally, I definitely grew up with quite a bit of anxiety. That was a huge struggle growing up. So, dare I say, I do feel like I can speak from a experience-based perspective. I know what it's like to be very run down by it, but it's definitely something that God wants us to get through, and He'll give us the tools in order to do so.
Yeah. 100%. So before we dive in, I wanted to share something I've learned in therapy. I've been going for 2.5 years. It's been really great. And my therapist just shared with me this kind of fact that changed my mindset on how I approach any negative emotion, anxiety included. And she just said, emotions are neutral. They're just signals. They are not negative or positive. So in the past, I had always thought, sadness, anger, fear, all of those are very negative emotions. And then, joy, excitement, love, compassion, all of those are very positive. And she just helped me realize that it's not the emotions that are bad or good, it's what you do with them and how you respond to them. I see in scripture how God was angry, God is sad, God feels compassion, God feels all the emotions, and so that shows me that emotions themselves aren't sinful. And I think it's a way that we reflect God's character by having these emotions. And so I think that includes fear as well. There's nothing wrong with feeling fear when something actually dangerous comes up. And I think that's kind of a tool that can help us like survive in the past. But do you have anything to add there?
I mean, yeah, anxiety is obviously a supernatural, normal emotion that humans are designed to experience, and to a large extent, there's nothing wrong with it, you know? Like Annabelle was saying, with real triggers of fear, like bears, you know? It's good to want to run away from those situations. Um, Putting that in the context of today, it's like we are very comfortable, you know, especially in America. There's nothing to be fearful over. There's no bears that are chasing after us. And I think due to that, a lot of our brains have started to have that emotion come up in, dare I say, inappropriate times. Because it's good to feel anxious from time to time. And when the body can't feel anxious, it doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Um, so I think we were going to get into it a little bit, but like, important element of it is just validating yourself. Like, anxiety is it's normal, it's good, and I mean, to a certain extent, really everyone feels anxious. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I think like what I've learned is that there are different parts within me, and anxiety is a part within me. And there is nothing I can do to challenge that part or change that part before I first, or if I don't first validate it and appreciate it. Because the part of me that's wanting to feel anxious is just trying to protect me from something. It's raising a flag and saying, hey, this is a problem. And that intention in itself is not bad. So it's really been healing for me to just, I guess, like appreciate that part of me that's trying to protect me before I ever challenge it to do anything different. And then once that part of me feels validated and it feels seen, then I can come to it and say, hey, maybe there's a different way. Maybe there's a better way. So I would just encourage you to maybe take a moment to like appreciate the part of you that is trying to protect you from something. It's really trying with good intentions. And if you try to like change that part of you before validating it, it's just going to feel guilty. And it's not going to work. At least that's my experience.
yeah.
So, yeah. Do you wanna share like a little bit of our story and how we met and stuff?
Show. Yeah. I feel like most listeners have a good idea, especially if they follow the blog, but we met on Hinge back in 2022, and kind of hit it off immediately. Talked a lot that day. I think it was like we walked for 7 miles,
Yeah.
hanged out for 7 hours, and very quickly realized that like we were the one for each other. So 7 months into us just knowing each other, we got engaged, which was a decision that both of our families supported, and definitely felt right. And then we realized it's like being a Christian, being engaged, basically the same thing as being married already. There's so much commitment that's in place there. And given the timing of things and the commute between us being an hour long, it made a lot of sense for us to get married and start living our life together, and then do a reception for all of our friends and family later. So that's what we ended up doing. And a big element of like our marriage and some of the challenges that we've got to go through have been my job, which is a very high stress job. For all who don't know, I'm a firefighter. So there's a lot of unique and I don't know, a lot of anxieties that can come up because of a job like that. Mainly, like for me, personally, it's been a lot of anxiety is about my performance and my ability to do my job in a good way, and really be the best man that I can, which obviously is has really good intentions, but then the way that anxiety manifests can just slowly hurt everything that you're trying to accomplish, ironically. And then the other big one is just health concerns and random things like that. A lot of what I would say, like all the anxieties that come up are very much what was I gonna say?
I feel like they are focused on your health a lot of times.
Yeah, I mentioned that. Oh, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of them come up because of like physical factors,
Yeah.
like poor sleep, poor nutrition, makes me just a lot more, I don't know, like easily anxious by things. And sometimes that spirals and lasts like upwards of a week, where I'm just being easily set off by everything. And then it'll like calm down. And it'll feel nice and dandy again. um, but yeah. When I was a kid, it was a lot of that, but like 10 times worse. I had no idea what it was and how I was supposed to deal with it. So, certainly was pretty rough in that regard. But yeah, luckily it's been a lot better, and I would say I'm at a good place now. So yeah, that's a general overview of like our story, us,
Mm-hmm.
and then kind of just my anxiety personally. I don't know if you wanted to speak about
Yeah.
your experience.
I think I kind of grew up in a family where it was like anxiety was not really like a thing, and it was always like, oh, other people, like, they have anxiety, no, like, we don't, we're normal. And to a certain extent, I don't think it's wrong to not want to like put labels on your kids or anything like that. I wouldn't say I have like severe anxiety or anything like that, but once we got married and Nathan kind of showed me his struggle with anxiety, initially I was like, oh, I don't have that. I don't feel that way at all. And then I would come to him and be like, I just can't stop thinking about all the ways that you could like die at work. And I'm like focusing on that constantly when you're gone. So I think for me, I've experienced a lot of anxiety while he's on shift. I just like worry about him a lot. It has gotten better through time, but that's a big thing that I stress about, and it's hard to like focus on anything else when he's gone. And then I would also say I just have struggled in the past with performance anxiety a little bit. I've experienced it when I played sports and soccer in high school. I experienced it in classes, performances, any of that. And I was always kind of able to push through, but then as I've gotten older, I feel it at work, and I'm so pent up at the end of the day. I am just like really stressed about doing a good job, and anytime I make a mistake, it feels like the end of the world. And so I would say those are the two places I feel it the most. And to be honest, I'm still like learning how to handle it well. I think after work, I still don't really know a very good way of decompressing. I feel like you've actually developed a much better like gauge of what you need when you're anxious because of your job. It's like when he gets home off of shift, there's kind of an understanding that you need some time to decompress and go do something that is relaxing to you. And I feel like that's helped, and I haven't learned that very well yet, personally.
Yeah, it's gonna be different for every person.
Yeah.
What they need and strategies in order to like identify what you need. Like, not in every circumstance are you gonna need the same thing or is it being caused by the same thing? So a lot of it just comes down to mindfulness and being aware
Mm-hmm.
of, like, checking in. Why am I feeling this way? What do I need?
Mm-hmm.
What would feel great right now? And just giving yourself the ability to kind of explore those feelings and not being judgmental of yourself is a big element of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I struggle with like guilt so much. It's probably like the biggest thing I struggle with. Um, Guilt is like my middle name, I feel like. Not anymore. I've gotten better, but it used to be. And anytime I felt anything negative, I would just beat myself up for it.
Yeah.
So I would, yeah. If you struggle with that same feeling, don't do that. If you feel anxious, like, it's normal. It's usually because of a deeper reason, at least for me. A lot of times it's not like, it's not about the surface level thing.
Yeah.
It's very often triggered by something deeper. So just kind of like spending time to ask yourself, be curious about the reason why. That's really helped me. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess like getting into more just personalized things that we've found that really helps and like can really be beneficial. Personally, a big element, and I kind of touched up on this earlier, is just a homeopathic like outlook. So considering your physical health, your mental health, and your spiritual health. Especially as Christians, you should believe that those three are very interwoven and connected. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're feeling real anxious, you're feeling real off, things are setting you off, like I was saying, take a step back, mindfulness, and figure out what you need. Is it to just, even if it's a rainy day, get outside, go on a walk.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised at how much better you'd feel just after doing that. Get some good, carbohydrates, fats, proteins. Your body needs all three of those things in order to produce all the chemicals that your body needs. And then, yeah, just like time with God and prayer, and just connecting with Him, talking with Him, and then finally that more like mental element being like, is there simply some misfiring brain chemistry? That's obviously a possibility, and if you've been dealing with things for a very extended period of time, there is a good possibility that there is some sort of mental element that is taking effect. I would say counter to what you may think and what the numbers say about how many people have mental health disorders and how many people are medicated for all these different disorders. I find it that most people don't necessarily need medications or have any type of real mental disorder. I don't know how familiar some of y'all are like familiar with how things work, but if you go to a therapist at all, pretty much, unless you're paying out of pocket completely, in order to keep going through insurance, they are required to give you some sort of diagnosis. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much all of us can show up, and as long as we want to be there, we'll get diagnosed, and have some sort of mental disorder that could easily be treated with some sort of medication.
Yeah.
So, not to necessarily discourage anyone from seeking like help that their brain may need, but don't be so quick to doing so. Check in with everything. Take time. Give yourself patience. Build consistent good habits. And like initially, if you do start going to therapy, be smart about just that, reformative cognitive therapy where they're going to guide you in just changing your mindset around things and being smarter in your response to those like stresses.
Yeah.
It's like, I think if you do that, good diet, good consistent exercise, even if it's just walking's great. All those together, I think you could really start feeling better. So I would challenge a lot of people to, even if it feels extremely difficult and borderline impossible, definitely try that.
Yeah.
And I understand there is a cyclical cycle that you can get into with bad habits reinforcing bad habits. You know, if you're feeling we'll throw depression into this a little bit because I think anxiety and depression are very connected. But you're feeling depressed, because you've been feeling anxious for a while. You don't want to get out of bed. You don't want to do anything. So the thought of exercising, the thought of taking care of yourself are very difficult, and you neglect those two things, it's just going to make that depression, anxiety worse.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're not going to feel as motivated also to have time with the Lord and pray and feel connected in His Word. So it's like it leaches onto everything that your body needs
Yeah.
and makes it way more difficult to do those things.
Yeah.
And that's tough. Like, kind of going back, it's hard to really fix anything if you keep beating yourself up. So validate yourself in the fact that this is an extremely difficult thing. Give yourself that time and patience.
Yeah, 100%. Bars. Yeah, I think, like, to summarize kind of what Nathan was saying, it's like, I see a lot of people treat medication as plan A, and I think it should be more like plan C or D, where diet and exercise and good sleep, good community, and good relationship with God.
That's another one I didn't mention.
Yeah, like, those are all needs, already. When you don't have those, then there's going to be issues.
And going back, like I said, it kind of makes everything more difficult to do, even though you need those things.
Right.
A good sense of community and people to talk to and all those things. You'd be surprised at how, like, good that can be for you and sustaining. And if you never do that, then it's like, well, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I also believe that anxiety and depression in the church are, dare I say, over-spiritualized. I see a lot of Christians respond to it as, like, well, just pray harder, just spend more time with God, and they completely neglect the physical, social needs. And like you said, I really liked how you said, like, as a Christian, you should view it as a very, like, rounded perspective. God doesn't just care about your spirit, He also cares about your body. He also cares about your emotions and your mind. And so it's like, yeah, if you're not eating protein, if you're not sleeping, if you're living on caffeine, if you're not seeing any friends or any community or any family, you're not going to feel normal. And those things need to be solved first before you jump to, medication. But again, medication is a great tool for some people, and it's not like, we don't believe it's, like, never called for.
I mean, for those people that, like, do need medication, I think it's those scenarios where it's like they're super a part of the church and they have a great community and they're exercising daily and they're eating super healthy and they're doing all the right steps, and they'll still just have, like, these days where it's like they can't feel normal no matter what they do, no matter how much sleep they get. Just another thing I forgot to mention. I think that is more the classic example of someone who's like, okay, this isn't working correctly. Let's fix that.
Yeah.
And you have to understand with, like, those medications, it's like something does to a certain extent need to be broken in order to be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Something has to be not firing or not receiving signals correctly in order for you to benefit. And if it's as simple as, like, well, you literally never give your body the ability to have tryptophan, a very important protein that turns into serotonin, then you're going to have a hard time having serotonin and feeling normal.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love your perspective that you bring, like this like medical perspective. It's kind of cool. Um, I think that's really important because that's stuff I don't really know. So that's really cool. Yeah, I was gonna say I've noticed the way we actually handle anxiety is also different. So for Nathan, and you can speak on this too, but I feel like more times than not, all you need is a reset. And it's like your brain just needs sleep, or you just need to eat, or a combo of the physical things that you need. And then the next day you feel better.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously talking about it helps, I'm sure, but it's like talking about it is not going to be the fix you need. It's just like your body just needs something.
Yeah.
Whereas when I feel anxious, I really feel like I need to talk about it. I want to like dive into exactly why I'm feeling this way. I want to verbally process things. And so I've noticed, like when we were first married, when you were anxious, I was like, I want to give you what I would want. Let's talk about it. Let's talk deep about it. I want to figure out exactly why you're feeling this way. And you'd be like, whoa, this is really overwhelming. I don't know if this is what I need right now. But then on the flip side, I feel like whenever I was struggling, you would be like giving me space. And that's not what I wanted. That's kind of what you would want in that situation. So I kind of feel like we've had to flip how we respond to one another instead of giving the other person what we would want, like giving what they react with, if that makes sense. It's kind of confusing.
I mean, and I think this is a big reason that we changed the title of this from like within marriage to like something a little bit more broad.
Yeah.
That's because like anxiety within marriage isn't too much different than anxiety with the other person, with the exception that, congratulations, you now have someone that you have to communicate with.
Yeah, pretty much.
And a big element of working things out in a, healthy way is just communicating through it,
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this is how I'm feeling today, or just, checking in with that other person. Like, hey, how you feeling today? You seem like a little off.
Yeah, we do that a lot.
Yeah. Like, I think that's a really healthy habit to start building, is just like little check-ins. Like I said, like walks are super beneficial for you, so it's like, doesn't matter if it's raining or snowing. I think it's great to go outside and go on a walk. So go on a walk with your spouse and just open up that conversation, and build that as a good habit. Just daily, or at least once every other day.
Yeah. We're doing 75 hard right now, and that means we have to do like 2 workouts every day. So inevitably one of those workouts is always a walk because it's like the easiest thing we can do.
Yeah.
But I've actually really loved that because it's forced us to just like go out and walk, and then what are you going to do when you're walking? You're talking. And so it's like 45 minutes of dedicated time just to like talk about the day, talk about how you're feeling, and
Yeah.
I feel like that's just been really great. I've really loved it.
Yeah. And along with like, communicating, how you guys are feeling, another element of that I would say is just being very smart in how you respond. You got to think like whoever's opening up about how they're feeling, they're going to feel very vulnerable. I would say it doesn't even matter if you guys have been married for 5+ years, 10+ years. It's still a vulnerable thing to do. So being cognizant of that and being just smart with how you're going to respond. If it's something that doesn't make sense for them to be anxious about, don't bring that judgment
Yeah.
into that conversation.
Yeah.
And validate them. It doesn't matter how silly it is. It doesn't matter how weird or strange or doesn't make sense. Validate them. Make sure that they feel heard before you move forward.
Yeah. I'll be the first to admit I like sucked at this. And sometimes still do. I don't resonate as much or or I don't understand initially sometimes when you're anxious about like a physical thing. So like when we were first married, it'd be like, hey, I saw this mole, like, are you worried about it? And you'd be worried about that. And I definitely like brought in that judgment. I was like, why are you stressed about this? Like, it's not that big of a deal, you're fine. That is not the way to respond.
Yeah.
Don't make that mistake, because it's like, it might not feel very real to you, but it's very real to the other person. And all they need is just like support. Sometimes it's just like you just need a hug. You just need to know that I'm gonna be there no matter what happens.
Yeah.
And that judgment is like, it's not the time and place for that. You know, maybe at a later time when the anxiety has faded, you can talk about, hey, let's dive into why this is making you anxious. Let's figure that out. But like in the moment when the emotions are high, it's not the right time.
Yeah.
I've had to learn that the hard way many times.
And I'd also like add on to that, like, I would say game plan a little bit before those like anxieties come up and you have to have this very uncomfortable and just difficult conversation. While they're feeling good, you're having a normal conversation, game plan, like in those moments, you know, how do you want me to respond? What do you need? Do you need space? Do you want to just verbally talk about things? Figure that out so that when those times do come up, that person doesn't even have to communicate. I think that just takes so much weight off of their shoulders to not have to say anything, and they're just treated with what they need. And like, acts of service, doesn't matter if it's one of your, favorite love languages or not. I think it can mean a lot more in those circumstances because you're having such a hard time doing things for just yourself. So if the spouse can, without saying anything, get you some food, get you your favorite drink, help you with, or start doing some chores that maybe were their responsibility, I think can just mean so much and can build your relationship up so much. It's like taking it from a situation of like stressfulness and like weird atmosphere, and you can turn it into something that will build your relationship even further. I think that's like just an overall key thing to marriage itself. Is that like the people who do it right and the people who have long, healthy marriages, they take every single uncomfortable, difficult situation, they flip it on its head and they make it something that strengthens their relationship. Even if it was like a big mistake that one of the spouses made, you can flip that and you can have it be turned into such a impactful and beautiful thing. Obviously, if you're smart about it and you put that effort in. Complacency. Biggest marriage killer.
Yeah, it's like every conflict is an opportunity, and I have faced those situations and turned it selfishly, and it always gets worse. But then there's been times where we've, turned it selflessly and have been like, you know what, they're not at their best. They're maybe not giving me what I need right now, but like this is an opportunity for me to love them and like serve them and take care of them when they're not at their best. And like those are just like the best moments. I feel like they are the moments that strengthen you the most. And I really love what you said about preparing beforehand, because there've been a lot of moments where you are feeling a certain way or I'm feeling a certain way, and that kind of sparks a conflict, and then I don't respond appropriately because I didn't game plan beforehand or like think about it beforehand. And then the whole conversation turns into like, well, you didn't tell me this is what you needed. Like in the moment, you didn't tell me exactly what you needed. And it's like, it really does help when that's not the expectation. When you're not at your best, it's not your automatic response to be like, pause, this is exactly what I need. 1, 2, 3, like go through all the things.
Yeah.
That's not your like go-to. And so if your spouse can mentally prepare beforehand and recall previous experiences, recall what you've communicated in the past, instead of like getting frustrated that you're not communicating what you need right in that moment. It does make things easier.
Yeah.
Something I'm still learning. This is a good conversation because I feel like I'm learning even as we're talking through it. I really have been inspired by this Tim Keller sermon recently. We're like Tim Keller super fans. We listen to his sermons all the time. But he speaks on anxiety very, very well, I think. I really agree with everything he says. And I just pulled a few, like, key points from that because I just thought they were so good. One of them is just that, like, anxiety reveals what you value most, and I think that can come across as very, like, judgmental initially, but before you freak out, I think it's, if you take a moment and really examine those moments that you get anxious, at least personally, it is when I am making a good thing, an ultimate thing. When I'm anxious about Nathan at work, I'm making him, like, caring for him and worrying about him caring for him is a good thing, but making it so that you are, like, my God, and my entire life is about you, and, you know, that's when the anxiety comes in. Or, like, when I'm anxious at my job, I am making my job, which is a good thing. I have a great job. I love my job. That's not bad. But when I make that my number one thing, essentially subconsciously making that more important to me than God during those hours, that's when the anxiety comes in of like, oh, I'm not doing good enough. So I think that was just it called me out, and I think it was insightful to me.
Yeah.
But
yeah. And not to outsource things, but I definitely recommend listening to some of Tim Keller's podcasts about anxiety, because obviously that will give you a more well-rounded perspective of what we're talking about. Yeah, I agree. He's such a powerful preacher, and says things so, like, perfectly.
yeah. He says things way better than we do.
But yeah, like, a lot of American anxieties come down to, this is what I believe the plan should be, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, even with something as scary as, like, it is my plan to not get cancer. It is my plan to not flunk out of this school program. You name it. This is my plan. And the fear of thinking that your plan is the only plan will eat at you. It doesn't matter who you are. So just letting go of your plan. Like, if I always like to think about this, it's like if you got a nail file and you just took not even, like, literally nothing off of your fingernail, which you just broke off of your fingernail in the length of your entire arm, what's it called?
I don't know.
Wing spread?
Yeah.
Whatever. That's like your time on Earth, right? This is the rest of your time in heaven, and it keeps going.
Yeah.
It's literally infinite.
For the podcast listeners, the arm span is
span,
eternity.
yeah.
The fingernail is is our life here.
Yeah. But obviously that's, like, I don't know, an oversimplification, because, I mean, we can't even think about what infinity means. But it's like, if that's our time on Earth, it's like, why worry so much about the tiny things here?
Yeah.
It's all dust.
Yeah.
It's all vapor.
Yeah.
Which, another thing you can check out if you're feeling like having a good old existential crisis. I forgot who it's by, but if you literally look up vapor, a prayer by who?
The Liturgists. It's Liturgists.
It's just kind of like a really cool audio that just talks about essentially the meaninglessness element of life.
Yeah.
And I said element. I'm not saying this life is meaningless, but
Yeah.
there's things that we just worry about too much.
Yeah.
And there's no reason to be worrying that much.
Yeah, it's the that little like meditation that he just said, it's inspired by Ecclesiastes, where Solomon is talking about, how everyone's just chasing after wind anyway. And I think when you do struggle with anxiety, it's very comforting in a weird way to be like, oh, you're right. This is not that big of a deal. Like, in the grand scheme of things, it's going to be fine. I don't know. It can come across as like depressing initially because you're like, wait, no, I want things to be meaningful. And that's not what we're saying. There are meaningful things, but yeah, when you stack it up against eternity, the things that you're stressing about are usually, are you going to remember them a year from now? Are you going to remember them in eternity?
Yeah.
Are they really that important? Easier said than done letting those things go, but
Yeah.
I think it's worth dwelling on a little bit.
Yeah. And I think another element of it is it's not just like, fear in your plan not working, but I think it's also a fear that God's going to abandon you in those difficulties. So
that he's gonna get it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this this quote by Tim Keller. He says, "Worry is not believing God will get it right." And then he also finishes that with, bitterness is believing that God got it wrong. And I don't know, it's pretty straightforward. It's like a very good definition of what those things are.
Yeah.
But just ask yourself, like, why do you believe God's going to get it wrong? Like, well, spend time kind of getting to know God a little bit better. Who is he? Who is he to you in your life? Who do you know him to be? What's his personality?
Yeah. And that very thought, like, anytime I'm anxious, it's like I always wanted to fall back on, like, God's got me, all these things. And I think a healthy thing that can come out of it, which is very difficult, but a good thing that can come out of it, is you start to, like, put pressure on your relationship with God in a good way. Where you're like, I want to understand things. I don't want to just be a little believer that wants God to be my fire protection. It's like, okay, if this man is real and this is the way that things are going to happen, like, this is a big deal. I don't want to just have a base knowledge. I want to truly understand. So I'd also like encourage people to use that anxiety as motivation to further your relationship. It's like, well, I want to be a complete believer, but it's like some things just don't make sense. This part of the Old Testament just doesn't, this seems detestable. Focus in on that. Like, not only pray about it, pray that God will be able to open your mind to it, but have faith that there is something that God can show you, and on the flip side, to a certain extent, that you're not going to be able to know all the answers, unfortunately. But nevertheless, let it inspire you to learn and just understand things better.
Yeah, like, ask the hard questions and don't be afraid to doubt. God can take your doubts. If God is real and if Christianity is real, you can prove it. Kind of like, it can take the challenge, it can take the doubts. So, like, test it,
Yeah.
Don't be scared to test it. I think the whole, like, doubt is a bad thing is such a lie in the church, and I think it's really damaging faith. So, like, challenge your faith. If God's real, he can handle it.
Yeah.
If he's real, he'll show you. He'll prove it to you.
Yeah. It's not going to be easy, mind you. That journey is going to take time. It's going to take a lot of difficult worries and struggles, but at the end, I think there's going to be a lot of positives that come from it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I would just kind of close a little bit by saying, I mean, we've kind of emphasized this the whole time, but anxiety looks different for every single person, and it ebbs and flows. There's no, like, guidebook, and it can go up and down day to day. So I think it's, on one hand, God does want you to have freedom from it, and as you have a stronger faith, get better habits, learn to deal with it better, you can kind of experience freedom from that. But at the same time, it's always going to be something you need to focus intention towards. It's never going to just be this easy thing.
Yes. Yeah.
And so don't have that expectation that like, oh, once I start doing the things, it's just going to be easy, because
Yeah.
it's not going to be. But it will. it's like same. Both are true at the same time, because it's like once you develop the habits will get easier.
Yeah.
But
Don't wait for you to have the motivation to do the actions. Start doing the actions, and more likely that motivation will follow. Seems backwards, but it's very true.
yeah, it's true. It's kind of like a paradox.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would just encourage you, if you're married, ask your spouse how they're feeling this week. Check in with them. Try to listen without fixing. And if you're single, I would just encourage you to kind of evaluate where you're at in your mental health journey, what you kind of need. If you need to eat, sleep, get community, spend time in the Word, address those things first, kind of come up with a game plan and see what you can fix off the bat, before doing anything else.
Yeah, and if that seems super challenging and difficult, get someone in your life who can keep you accountable and just help.
Yeah, support.
And then also, just adding on to what she was talking about, I'd say just, if you do have that conversation with your spouse and they are doing great, he or she, I would also just build up a game plan, like we're talking about. Like, hey, if you start feeling super anxious, you don't have to bring up any previous examples, but, if you're starting to feel anxious, how can I support you? What do you need in those moments? And if they don't have an immediate answer, no issue. Give them some time to think about it, and then, revisit that conversation.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah. Well, thank you guys for listening. And we're always here to pray for you guys or support you in any way we can. Just shoot us a message. We're here. We're just normal people. But, yeah. Thanks for listening. Our blog version of this is live on our website. And then we also have a YouTube version of this going live on YouTube if you're watching. Here you are.
I definitely forgot that we were recording quite a few times during this, so I'd love to see my
100%.
random faces.
Our faces are probably just like so focused.
Yeah. I realize now why a lot of podcasts have it more set up so you're sitting across from each other. Because we're just like spending our time with our neck crooked.
So maybe next time you'll see us like this, just like we're facing each other in the closet. This closet is so tiny, I'm sweating so much right now. It's so hot in here.
I don't know why either of us put sweatshirts on.
I don't know why, it's like 85 degrees today.
Alright.
So we'll learn lessons from next time. For next time. But I hope you guys have a really sweet weekend. Have a great week ahead. We love you. Bye!
Bye!